How old can a helicopter be? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. Very quick video here. How old can a helicopter be? What is the maximum lifespan of a helicopter? So, in aviation terms, and aviation is the same for all types of aircraft, there are time limits for particular components on an aircraft, and a helicopter in this case. So let's just say a main rotor helicopter blade might have a time limit on it and might only be able to fly, let's say, 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours before it has to have inspections, or it might say, right, this component has reached a certain amount of flight time, therefore it has to be replaced or it has to be serviced or something like that. Other components, in fact, all components to a certain degree, are what we call on inspection. So it really depends if a particular component is deemed to be serviceable or not. If they find a defect with it, whether the pilot finds a defect, whether the engineer finds a defect with it, to say, actually, this component is not suitable for the purpose, therefore we have to remove it from the helicopter and put a brand new one on. So it really depends whether the component has reached a time limit or whether it's on inspection. There are other limitations based on time which are not relevant to the amount of hours that the helicopter has flown, but it's more relevant to the actual date. So there could be a calendar date limitation. So they could say, for example, I'm making this up here in terms of figures, but it could be, say, that on any helicopter, on this helicopter, that component can only be on there for 5 years or something like that. Regardless of its condition, regardless of what it is, it has to be replaced after 5 years. So that it could be a situation like that. But in most cases, it's about the helicopter condition or the component condition on inspection, but also there's a time limit in terms of hours flown. Now, they say there are multiple inspections on a helicopter in terms of the number of hours flown, but also on date as well. And it really depends what kind of maintenance program that the helicopter has. Aircraft in general will determine where these inspections are, what intervals they're at, and what they're actually looking for at a particular point. Now, some maintenance programs will say, okay, we have to check everything periodically, whereas other maintenance programs will say, no, we'll keep everything contained within certain time limits. Let's say a 50-hour, 100-hour, 1,000-hour, that kind of thing. So they'll keep everything sandwiched within a block of time. Whereas other maintenance programs, it's now they'll do everything every week, a little bit every week. It really depends which is the most cost effective and also which is the most appropriate for the operation that this applies to. So with that being said, it really depends on the helicopter itself, actually on any aircraft. Are there new parts to be put on the helicopter? And in the industry, we call this Trigger's broom. There's a character, Trigger, from Only Fools and Horses comedy show here in the UK, and he would talk about his broom. And I've had this broom for 15 years. It's had 13 handles and 25 heads or something like that. I've got those numbers wrong, but you get my point. It really depends if there are new parts to put on the helicopter, if manufacturers are still producing parts, if maintenance organizations can still find parts to put on there, and if they're approved to be put on the helicopter as well, or the aircraft in general. So that's why you can see really old aircraft still flying around, and they're still flying around because parts are still available to be placed onto those aircraft as well. Now, some of those aircraft, of course, may not be in service in terms of a commercial sense, because technology moves on, operators want different things, customers want different things in terms of level of performance, level of comfort, so on and so forth. Also, levels of technology as well. But in terms of the aircraft still being serviceable to fly, then as long as there are parts that are available to be placed on there, and also that there are engineers that are qualified on that type of aircraft to do that work. Now, as aircraft get older and older and older, you'll get less and less people working on them, engineers this is, and conversely pilots as well, that are able to fly it. Either pilots retire and engineers retire that usually work on those, or they get so rare that there's only a few people left that are still working on those aircraft. Therefore, it comes to a point, actually, there might not be personnel around that are qualified on that particular type. And pilots and engineers have type ratings on the aircraft that they can fly. And they need a certain amount of experience on a particular aircraft as well. And it can change in different countries, of course, the levels of what an engineer or a mechanic can work on. But essentially, that's it. So it could be that there's no more personnel to effectively work on these aircraft. These aircraft are not being used. They're mothballed, essentially, because they just don't meet the current demands of modern aviation. Or it could be that, the parts are just not available anymore to put on that aircraft. So that's why they just get mothballed. That's why they just get to go to the aircraft graveyard somewhere, and that's it. But a helicopter, an aircraft, can effectively fly indefinitely for as many years as you want, as long as there are parts available, as long as there are people to work on it and to fly it, pilots and engineers. And also that there is a regulatory structure out there that supports that aircraft in terms of allowing it to fly so that it can meet certain criteria. But that really determines how old a helicopter can be or how old an aircraft can be. As long as it's got parts, as long as it's got people to service the aircraft and fly it, then it can still fly. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, keep on watching the videos. Don't forget to go to the website, revelatealf.com/books for all the occupational books, aviation books that I sell there as well. And with that, I'll catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now.